Hey, I'm Chris, and I'm a recovering perfectionist. For the past 15 plus years as a professional video producer and editor, I wanted everything I worked on to be perfect. The commercial and client world unfortunately shoved that mindset down my throat. And now that I'm focusing on YouTube, I desperately wanted to break that habit. And so this video is my attempt at doing just that. Instead of scripting my videos and carefully crafting every aspect of it, I wanted this video to be more raw and definitely imperfect. While I typically hate using AI for anything creative, I am using the power of our future overlords to create questions about my video creator journey, sort of like a documentary interview. I promise you that I have never seen these questions before. I have no idea what's coming. So if you're a creative of any sort, filmmaker, video creator, designer, artist, music producer, whatever, if you struggle with perfectionism, I hope that this video will inspire you to go out there and just create. And just to prove that I have never seen these questions before, I'm actually going to put in the prompt into ChatGPT right now. Act as an award-winning documentary filmmaker and journalist. You are interviewing me about my journey as a video creative from the film and TV world now to YouTube. Explore the ups and downs and formulate questions that lead to a cohesive story arc. So I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, you can't really see it. It's kind of blurry, but anyways, that is my prompt, and I'm going to press submit or whatever, I don't know, the arrow, all right? So here we go. There we go. Okay, all right, let's get this thing going. Take me back to the beginning. What first drew you into filmmaking and video creation? I mean, I always created stories. I remember when I was a kid, 7, 8 or whatever, and I had a bunch of action figures, and I would recreate these epic battle scenes with Spider-Man versus Cyclops or whatever action figures that I had. And, I was inspired a lot by Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon. For video and film specifically, I was thankful that my high school had a film class. And at the time, in the early 2000s, I am somewhat old, not that old, but anyways, in the early 2000s, film classes, media classes weren't around as much, if at all. And that was the first time that I touched professional filmmaking gear. I got into video editing. We had this iMac that barely ran Final Cut Pro 7, but that was the first time I touched any sort of video editing software, and I don't know, I just loved it. It just felt right. It felt like sort of like an extension of all that storytelling and all that stuff that I did with my action figures, that now I could sort of do it in video form, and I just loved it. When you look back at your early days in the film and TV world, what moments stand out as defining? My defining moments aren't, especially in the early days, they're not pretty. I remember working on stuff that I never really felt that excited about. You know how it is, when you first step into the industry, I mean, realistically, you're gonna work on some crap. Those early years, the defining moments weren't really, I don't look fondly at them because I was frustrated. Right? Like, I came from being from high school, from college, where we got to work on these fun projects, these, silly things. And then all of a sudden you get thrown into, the corporate world, and you're working on stuff that's just devoid of any creativity, right? Now, they get the bills paid. We all need to eat, but man, I just remember being frustrated in those early days of my career, like my professional career. And I've always just craved wanting to work on something that felt right, that felt more creative, that felt like an extension of me, an extension of my creative energy. And I don't know, I know that's not exactly sexy, but that really was like the beginning of my career. You've worked on some incredible high-profile projects. What was it like to operate in that world? Yes, I did get to work on some pretty cool projects. I'm based in Toronto, Canada. I worked at Sportsnet, and at the time in 2019, the Toronto Raptors, which is, my childhood favorite team, they won the NBA championship, and I was working at Sportsnet at the time as the lead NBA Toronto Raptors promo producer. And so at that time, that was amazing. I got an opportunity to work on this once-in-a-lifetime thing, this once-in-a-lifetime project. I got to direct the players. I would be on set with them. In that way, it did feel like a dream job. But that was such a small part of the gig. There were a lot of other moments that were not as shiny, not as sexy, but I never thought that I would work on projects like that, right? Like, especially from what I started with. I know that one of my very first projects in my career was working on this. I was editing this video for a grass company, and like grass seed. But man, like going from that to then working on an NBA championship nationally broadcast video was, it was exciting. When did perfectionism start to creep in, and how did it affect your creative process? I mean, perfectionism has always been with me ever since, maybe I was a kid. If you can't tell, I'm Asian, and the ongoing joke is that, you're an Asian, not a Bayesian, blah, blah, blah. I was definitely a B student, so I'm definitely a Bayesian. But despite my parents not being super strict with my grades and all of that stuff, I guess it is part of my DNA where I wanted to be perfect. I wanted my work to be perfect. I wanted perfect grades. I didn't get them, but I guess it was just sort of, I don't know, internalized in me somehow. I don't know how exactly. In my early career when I was younger, I felt like I needed that to be perfect. It had to be. And if it wasn't, then it's not worth it. It's not good. Which is just a terrible mindset, for creatives, for artists. It took a long time to sort of overcome that thinking, and it's, honestly, it's still something that I struggle with. Was there ever a point where perfectionism actually held you back from creating or sharing? I mean, like, when it comes to like my own YouTube channel, I had this feeling that, hey, I worked on all of these big budget projects, these high-end marketing campaigns or whatever. I knew how much time and effort went into those things. And I'm like, okay, so that has to convert into YouTube, which means all my videos need to be carefully crafted and perfected and molded and has to be this extremely perfect thing. That mindset held me back from starting my channel, even just sharing things like music. I've been playing guitar for a long time. I'm still pretty insecure about my guitar skills, about sharing my music. And that sucks, right? Just hearing me say this out loud, that sucks. Like, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be this way. But I know that a lot of people feel this way. What drew you to YouTube after years in the professional film world? What's funny is that I never saw YouTube as a serious place to create art. Vimeo was sort of this place where, all the filmmakers, all the editors, designers, all that, you put yourself on Vimeo because that's where the real artists go. YouTube is for cooking videos and tutorials and cat videos, which maybe I'll make a cat video just for the fun of it. Then I started seeing all these other creators who were insanely talented, and I see their videos and I'm like, that's amazing, right? And they just did it for the fun of it. They didn't do it, and I know that there's all these sponsorship videos and everybody complains about, all these videos are sponsored and blah, 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 blah. And screw you, all right? Everybody's got to make some money. But for the most part, almost entirely, there's a lot of people that create really artistic, great stuff. They share their stories, they express their creativity, and they did it freely without a marketing department, without bosses and all of that stuff. And that was so, it felt like what I needed, right? It felt like after all of these years working in agencies and all of this stuff where everything had to be perfect and revised a million times, I could just create what I wanted and just put it out there. Yeah, so that alone is what brought me, what was attractive about YouTube. But obviously, like, I needed to, if that was the path that I wanted to go down, I needed to make sure that it could pay the bills, right? And I mean, that's another topic for another story, for another video, because to be honest, I'm still figuring that stuff out. What's the hardest part for you right now? Hitting record without scripting or knowing this video won't be perfect? I mean, like, well, it's right there. I know that I'm not the best speaker, right? I know that I can stumble my words, that I could say like and all of that stuff. I wanted this video to be a way to practice my speaking without a script. Here's a little behind the scenes thing, all right? Some of my videos, some of them, not all of them, I use a teleprompter. Using a teleprompter is hard, okay? It's hard. And even when I use it, it's, it takes some practice. And so I would love to know if people can tell which of my videos had a teleprompter or not. So the hardest part is really, all right, speaking of imperfect, this is what I got to deal with. All right, so I am cat sitting right now. Let me make sure that he's in focus. So this is Lumpia, and I am cat sitting him and another cat named Mushu. They are a couple of they're great cats, right? Lumpia is a vocal one, right? He likes to meow a lot, so if you hear him meowing throughout this video, I'm sorry, not sorry. Right, Lumpia? Right, Lumpy Lump? Looking back at your journey, what would you tell the version of yourself who was stuck in perfectionism? Oh, man. I mean, like, what do you say to somebody who struggles with perfectionism other than knock it off? Throughout my career, throughout my life, the only thing that I've found that actually helps overcome perfectionism is just taking action, right? And I know that's cliche, I know that's said a million times, but it's true. People are, myself included, are stopped dead in their tracks. They're worried about what other people will think. They're worried that their work is not good enough. And then they don't do anything, right? They just sit around doing nothing. They watch another video. And for me, I know that you just have to put in the reps, right? That's how you sort of overcome that fear. I mean, that's what I would tell my younger self who is so caught up with perfectionism, to just, have fun. Don't forget that this is supposed to be fun. You enjoy this stuff, right? You enjoy making videos, you enjoy this process. Have fun with it. Where do you see your creative journey going next, both with YouTube and beyond? So right now, I am working on a mentorship program to help video creators improve their craft, to overcome things like perfectionism, to just go out there and create consistently. I'm working on that. I want it to be the best it can be, but I also know that it won't be perfect, right? This is my first attempt at something like this, and I know that it won't be perfect. And it sucks because I want it to be perfect. I want it to be the best experience that they could possibly have. But there's a part of me that knows that, hey, this is your first time. It's not gonna be perfect. The first time never is, right? Right? Right. And so that's definitely part of my journey, helping other people create, in addition to creating myself, right? Because yes, I want to help other people create, but I also need to create myself. I need to express my own creativity and create my own art, right? I have to do it. I want to be a creator. I want to be a guide, hopefully mentor people into the right direction. And yeah, that's where I hope my journey takes me. So ChatGPT came up with these questions, but I know that you human, you can make better questions than this. So if you have any questions at all, whether they be about video editing, filmmaking, about me, whatever, if you have any questions at all that you would like me to answer, leave them in the comments below and I will make a video about that in the future. Thank you so much for hearing me ramble in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.